Hey guys, Danny Thompson, the drum tuning guru here, and today I'm going to review the TuneBot electronic drum tuner. This is a fairly new product on the market. A lot of buzz about it. It's really the first of its kind. Essentially, the unit has a microphone in it that measures the pitch or frequency of the drum head, and also then you can utilize that to measure the individual pitch or frequency of each lug to help you in your tensioning of the drum head. So it's measuring the frequency and the pitch, unlike the drum dial, which is measuring the actual tension of the drum head. So what I'm going to do is I'm going to go through the basic features, show you the basics of how the product works, and then I'm going to cover a couple of minor little issues I got with the product, and address also a few things I've seen out there in some of the forums and based on some of the other video reviews and things on YouTube regarding this product. So here's the basic features of the TuneBot. So the first thing we're going to do is just measure the fundamental pitch of the drum. So I'm going to unmute the drum a little bit and just get the lowest pitch, which is the fundamental. And you can see it's 174 hertz right there. So now what we're going to do is I'm just going to tap around the various lugs, and you can see it's giving us a frequency reading. And there's some slight variances, 251, 252. And it would be real easy from here just to do a little bit of adjustment on your tensioning and try to get those lugs more similar. You might hear that sometimes I'm muting the drum in the center a little bit, and other times I'm letting it ring wide open. When tuning a tom, I tended to mute the center of the head much more. So now what you see right there, that 354 frequency, that's a higher harmonic of that lug, and we don't want that. So this is where that filter button comes into play. So I hit a lug that gives me more of a regular reading, that 252, then I hit filter. So now it's only going to read frequencies and readings that are close to that 252, so I won't get that crazy high reading like that. Once I learned how to use that, it goes much quicker. Okay, so then from here we're going to go to the difference button, and this is where it works more like a guitar tuner. So I have a lug that I chose as my primary lug to try to get all the rest of them to, and now I can go around and tap at those lugs, and you'll see that one's negative 0.5 hertz, which is pretty much inaudible. If you're that close, I think you're good. And you can go around the drum and fine tune it this way. And this is where I tended to probably use the product the most, is to get it into that range and really fine tune everything. Once you've done all that with the drum, certainly you can go back and go to a note value if you want to. You'll see that here pretty quick. But as I'm going around there, you can see in that difference mode, we're pretty right on. So here's the note value. I'm going to turn the difference button off, and just getting us the fundamental note of the drum there. All right, and those are the basic functions. So that was a basic rundown of the features of the TuneBot. Again, I think it's a really cool product. I think it works really well. Took me maybe 30-40 minutes the first time that I used it to get used to it. I think once you get the hang of how to use that filter button, then it starts to go really fast. For me, I like to be able to fine tune that extra little bit. Certainly I can tension the lugs and get the pitches pretty darn close by ear, but I think using the TuneBot I can do it a lot quicker. So to me, that's a big positive benefit of the product. Also when you're changing heads, maybe right before sound check or something, I think once you've found the point with your particular drums that you really love the tuning, you've hit the sweet spot and the drums sound amazing, to be able to store those settings in here, I think that's a big plus. So that when you're changing out heads, boom, you know exactly where to bring it right back to get that perfect sound. Every drum kit's different, every drum's different, so you've got to find that spot with each drum. That's why it takes you a little bit longer when you're playing on a rented kit, or go to a studio and you're not used to the kit. You're not used to what the best pitch for those particular drums are, and that's why it takes you a little bit longer. So I think this will help you get your drums back to that perfect spot much quicker. I really like that element of it. So a few minor critiques. Really simple overall. Again, I said I really, really like the product. It'd be great if the product came in some type of case, like a little Pelican case or something like that. I'm going to put this in my toolbox where I keep all my other supplies when I'm on the road, and I'm going to need something to, keep it secure. It's going to get banged around. That would be nice. I'd be willing to pay a little bit more if it came with like its own special case. I had it on at rehearsal. The guys are, tinkering on their guitars and whatnot, noodling as guitar players and bass players do, and it was enough to be triggering the light on here. So the microphone is picking it up enough to trigger the sensors inside there, which would make it really hard to try to use it in any kind of noisy environment. I did see a video where somebody was using it and they had a vacuum cleaner on, and I think that probably worked because it was a constant sound and it may not have been quite loud enough to trigger the sensors. I think it's triggered with more of a spike attack type sound as opposed to a constant, sound. So, granted, you're not going to be tuning your drums probably in between songs or anything like that, to that degree anyway in a set. But even, maybe at a sound check type of scenario, there might be too much noise to use it. I'll have to experiment a little bit more to see how that really ends up working for me. And then the other thing is, when it's being triggered with that light, you cannot power off the unit. So I was trying to turn it off, but there was noise from the guitar player and the unit wouldn't turn off. Super minor. Other than that, I haven't really come across anything that I didn't like about it. A couple things I've seen out there on the internet about the product. Some people are saying, well, I'd rather trust my ear and I don't want to replace. Everyone should be able to do it by ear. And it's true to a certain extent. I know where that comes from. I can certainly tension all the lugs by ear and then throw the tune bot on, and I'm pretty much right on. It's that last little, frequency, that 1.5 hertz that I don't have, in my ear, and I did really like using it to fine tune it to that extent. I think where your ear comes in is the overall tone of the drum, and this is not going to do that for you. This unit really is helpful at tensioning up the drum head very, very well, and then storing that so you can do that again very easily, and also actually measuring the pitch and utilizing the note value if you do want to tune in thirds or fourths, or you want to tune a drum to a specific note, such as maybe tuning a floor tom to a specific note that fits in the key of a song when you're in the studio. I've done that a few times, and we've also done that with the snare drum. And you're not going to do that all that often, but I think that could be a cool thing to do with it. So the ear is really going to come in the overall tuning of the drum. And that sort of leads me into a few comments that were out there where people tuned their drum using this, and then people commented, well, I don't really like the sound of that drum, and they use that tuner. Tensioning the drum head properly is only one element of good drum sound. It's a very crucial element, but it's only one part of it. So what you have to separate is, tensioning a drum head and the overall tone of the drum head can be totally separate from each other to some extent. You can have this head tensioned perfectly, but the overall tone of the drum can still be bad. There's many things that are also going to affect that. And that's where I think the skill and the ear comes in. So for me, to just get that head tensioned up really well, if I can do it more accurately and faster using this, by all means I'm going to do it. I still need to rely on my style and my ear to get the overall sound of the drums where I like them. So wrapping it all up, I would highly recommend the product. I think for the money, I think it works great. I'm sure maybe there'll be refinements over time to it to make it even cooler, but I think it's a great product. So I hope that helps you out. Thanks a lot for watching.